after our next guest, Mike Holmgren, longtime head coach in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, longtime assistant with the 49ers. He's got Super Bowl rings. He even has a national championship as a player, and he's a city native. Mike, good morning. Good to have you back on.
Hey, good to talk to you guys.
Mike, I got to get right in here. I'm sorry, Bonte. There are rumors that you used to hang out over at Fahey's Bar with my man Pat Murphy, putting a couple back in the day over there on 24th and Terraville. Do you remember those old days?
Yeah, I sure do. There were a lot of guys, growing up in the city. The city's it's a metropolitan, wonderful city, but it's kind of small in a lot of ways. And we had a group that would go in for a lemonade every once in a while.
With extra sugar and spice, right, Coach?
Right.
We're talking 2-minute drills here.
I love it.
The clock management situation, what happened last Sunday with the San Francisco 49ers. Look, they leave Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds left. Can you explain what you saw there Sunday night with the 49ers 2-minute drill and why it was such a mistake to leave 37 seconds left? Aaron Rodgers should not have touched that ball.
Well, we work very hard on that, and I know the 49ers do. And if you're in that situation that you want to use every second, if you have the ball in offense and know Aaron Rodgers, if he gets the ball back, or a Tom Brady or a Russell Wilson, those guys are capable of moving the football for a field goal, that you don't want to leave him any extra time if possible. So I'd be in the phone to the quarterback saying, take all the time. Snap the ball, take all the time. And then, if you give it back to them and they have X amount of seconds, maybe a little bit less, you got a better chance to win the football game. But 37 seconds, listen, that's still remarkable. So that's a little bit on the defense too.
Right. No doubt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach, forget the quarterback that they drafted, because we know that's the elephant in the room, and there's just a lot there. Just the relationship between Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. You're not there every day, but from afar, how would you diagnose this relationship? Because it just feels like, to me, at no point has Kyle wrapped both arms around Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's been to the detriment of both men.
Yeah, it gets tricky. I remember when we drafted Favre or traded for Favre in Green Bay, and Don Majkowski was the quarterback. And Don started the season for us. But anytime you draft a kid in the first round or make a decision, a trade like that, really what you're telling your fans, what you're telling everybody, that at some point, this is our quarterback. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent the time or the effort or the money, in picking him. So in the meantime, until that happens, the coach and whoever is playing, you got to work that out, and that has to be clear, and you just have to respect each other and make sure that there's no curveballs, that this is how we're going to do it. And, I think when they draft a kid number one, a player number one, that's what you're telling everybody.
Mike Holmgren here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game with Joe Shasky the Butcher and Bonte Hill. Coach, when you look at this offense and what Shanahan's trying to do, when you don't have a running back, you see all the injuries to the running back position. The Niners lose Raheem Mostert on the third play of the game, third offensive snap of the game against Detroit. You lose Elijah Mitchell, your 6th-round pick. Trey Sermon is not used to running behind a fullback as he played in the gun at Ohio State. How do you rectify that situation? How do you try to churn out a consistent running game when you're dropping bodies left and right at the running back spot?
Well, it's hard. I mean, I'm stating the obvious, but I can remember going in when we weren't running the ball a lick in Seattle. And I remember at a press conference going in and said, we're not running it. We can't run it. We're going to throw it. And doggone it, we just figured out a way to turn, and I got this from Bill Walsh, turn what would normally be a running type of situation into a short pass that got you the same yards if you're injured, or if it's not working, you got to go to plan B. And I think when you have injuries, it's tough, but you got to come up with something that'll move the football for you.
And so what happens when you've had a couple of weeks of just no offense in the first half? We know scripting the first 15 plays, you were part of the genesis of that. Like, everyone now in the league scripts the first 15 plays, and things can throw you off kilter. But these first halves for the Niners, back-to-back weeks, they've just been really difficult. When you're in a rut like this, how do you come out and execute in the first half of the following week?
Well, that's a problem, because if you believe in scripting the first 15 plays, there's a reason you pick those 15 plays. And if sometimes, because of good defense or something, it doesn't just work. So then you have to decide, is it because of the play, or we're just not executing, or what is it? And then don't be stubborn about it. I would do that too. All of a sudden we the first 15, and after the first drive or something, the first 2 drives, it's not working. I said, I'm off the script. And the guys upstairs go, wait, we worked on that 15. Don't do it. I said, we're off the script. Huh. Start writing things down, So you have to be willing to adjust to that, because you got to move the football, particularly in the first half.
How fickle are our wide receivers, Coach? Because, it always gets labeled as a diva position. There's divas at the wide receiver position. Now, Brandon Ayuk is, quote-unquote, been in the doghouse. He's been slow to get implemented in the offense. How did you deal with wide receivers, that position group? Because, I know they could be flashy. They could be, they want the ball in their heads, which you want from a wide receiver. But how do you get a young guy to catch up to speed and get his confidence up when he hasn't been part of the game plan for the first 3 weeks?
Well, that's a challenge. But, you say – I had the good fortune of being with Jerry Rice and some of these other guys,
John Taylor,
guys with the 49ers. Yeah. And invariably, if we'd have a game, Jerry'd come into my office on Monday and say, Mike, I'm not getting the ball enough. He wouldn't do it during the game. He goes, and I did the same thing with Sterling Sharp. You get thoroughbreds that want the football. If you got young guys that want it, but then they got to show you they deserve it. And so then you have that talk with them too. Listen, show me, and you'll get the ball. Just understand, I want you to get the ball. So just hang in there with me and bear down and work very, very hard to be like Jerry Rice, to be like this guy. And then you have that serious talk with him.
Coach, how do you balance trying to get the rookie some looks here? We saw him come in for a couple of plays last week. He didn't play at all in week 2. Played a little bit in week 1. How do you balance that as a head coach?
Well, if he's the guy, it wouldn't be a rookie so much. I wouldn't say, okay, we're gonna ease him into it because he's a rookie. What's he doing in practice? How is he responding to what the coaching or the scheme? Is he catching footballs? Is he dropping balls? You got to look at that stuff. I used to get the receivers together. Listen, I said, your job is to catch the ball. If you can't catch the ball, you play defensive back. I'll move you over there.
No, I meant more the quarterback. I apologize. I meant Trey Lance, the quarterback.
Oh, with Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that Trey Lance. It's what your plan is. I think if they win games with Jimmy, and keep winning games, then Trey's not going to see the field too much. If they have a little package for Trey in the game, then that's okay. But you can't be off balance. Listen, I go back to Coach Walsh and when we had Steve and Joe Montana. Now they weren't rookies, but he played them both, and we got a little off balance because of that. You have to commit to one of them, and if he gets it done, you stay with him, and then the other guy, knowing the other guy's time will come. But if the starter, if it's not working, then you're going to see the other guy has to be ready to play.
Mike Holmgren here on 95.7 The Game. Should be in the Hall of Fame, of course. Super Bowl champ, national champ, longtime offensive coordinator with the 49ers, longtime Green Bay Packer and Seattle Seahawks head coach here on the Morning Roast. Coach, I'm thinking about that, and I'm with you. If I'm on the team, and I haven't played since high school football, but it feels like you got to have one quarterback. The whole flipping and flopping at that position just doesn't feel right. You do get out of rhythm there. But how do you navigate around the injuries this team is now starting to suffer? Because that's been the theme here the last 2 seasons with the 49ers. Secondary, offensive line, running backs. How did you as a coach try to navigate around injuries? And at one point, did you just run out of talent and not win football games?
Yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, I'm just stating the obvious here, but my last year in Seattle, we wound up being 4-12, and we lost more. We probably of our 22 starters, we lost 18 of them. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was the worst injury situation I'd ever. And you just keep talking, bearing down. You listen, we're going to challenge. We played a lot of close football games, right, but we did not have enough good players to win. And so there's no easy answer for that. It's just that the players keep believing whoever is available to play, those guys have to step up and play their hearts out, and you might eke out a couple wins. But it's in this league, in this division, and you guys know this as well as I do. This is a tough division right now. If you're hurt, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Coach, I'm looking around the league, and the old guys are playing great. Matt Stafford in a new location. Tom Brady obviously wins the Super Bowl last year. Aaron Rodgers, dominant. And then all these young guys are coming up and showing so much promise. Have you ever seen the league from a quarterback position be this dynamic and this deep across the board?
Well, no. I think it's a time. Every once in a while in the last few years, you used to have a draft class that comes in, like going all the way back to Marino's draft class or Elway's or those guys, and you say, okay, this is going to be a special group for a long time. That's the feeling you get right now. Now, the young guys who got drafted are getting the stuffings knocked out of them for the most part right now, and so you just pray that they don't get hurt and they don't get screwed up in the mind because they're getting knocked around. But there's a lot of talent, young talent in the league at that position, and it bodes well for the league, I think, for years to come.
Coach, always a pleasure talking to you. We got to do this again later in the season. We'll see what happens at the quarterback spot with the 49ers. Big game for them on Sunday against Seattle.
Yeah, and Coach, if you're back in town, it's not Fahey's anymore. It was transitioned into the Dragon Lounge. Now it's Carl's Beacon. Maybe you and I can go get a lemonade at Carl's Beacon one of these days.
Well, I'm trying to back off on my lemonade. I'm trying to back off on that.
That's smart. That's smart. That's
we
smart.
Miss you, Coach. Thanks for coming on.
All right, guys.
You're the best.
See you later. Mike Holmgren here on the Morning Roast. And, I'm thinking